do divert your attention in the direction of this very paper. For I, Hubert P. Ignatius, intend to explain and expound upon the nature of pragmatic anti-realism. You are, of course, familiar with idealism and realism, the two battling titans. But in case you are not, here is a refresher. The wise gentleman, Monsieur Idealism, knows that the material world is but a manifestation within his own mind. In other words, if a tree falls in the forest and no gentleman stands nearby to audibly perceptuate it, it has made no sound. But his angry brother, Monsieur Realism, holds that the material world is objectively real. That self-same tree falling in the forest makes a sound regardless of its audial perceptuation. Gentlemen and lady types, I am sure you will agree that this contention of realism is nothing less than absurd.
Pragmatism is basically just asking it's asking yourself when you do something or when you start a debate or an argument or something like that, is it practical? Is something going to change after I'm done with this? A lot of arguments, nothing happens.
We'll start with number 1. There is a God. Okay, you guys, is this a definition of terms? Well, if we say God is what exists, God is everything that exists, then yes, this is a definition of terms in which it's meaningful. But wait.
We're not saying that.
What is our definition of God? Is it an ineffable, untestable being that lives in the sky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means, no, it is not a definition of terms. 2, does it apply to the observable world?
No.
No, because you cannot observe.
Hey, wait, I saw God once.
I would argue yes, but can it be tested? No. Because God, religious people anyway, theists,
See
believe
God.
God applies to the observable world, and they feel that they observe God, but they wouldn't, I don't think, the same ones do.
Stephen,
It still has the same result.
The statement, there is a God, does that apply to the physical world? That would require God to physically exist.
There's a very personal side to pragmatism that I think is kind of, if it works for you, then who cares about everybody else? Stick with it.
What about, is there a moral aspect? Like,
as in...
let's say what works for me is, I wake up in the morning, I smack someone, and then I just feel invigorated, I'm ready to go about my day. Is that alright?
Well, that's the thing.
I think a pragmatist how I wake up every morning.
They would probably say it was
pragmatic,
but not
It was pragmatic for you, but not for them.
Yes. Yeah. If that works for you, then yes.
Yeah, if you're the one getting smacked, it's not pragmatic.
And if you can find someone who wants to be smacked first thing in the morning, you've got your spouse, yeah.
So it's really challenging to argue with Joe, as we all know, but I really don't agree with this because I think there's a lot of other things that you can't cover with just meaningless and unmeaningless. And basically, like, I kind of wrote something kind of saying the same thing using the black crow example, but this is what I wrote, like, this is what I wrote directly. A statement like all crows are back can only be tested if you look at every single crow. There is no way to know that you have seen every crow. Even though in theory you can find every crow and test it with some sort of, like, you can, like, find every crow and test it with, like, some sort of machine or something, like he was saying. Like, we can only account for what's happening right now. We can't account for the past. We can't account for the future. And, like, right this second isn't really relevant. Like, how do I know in 20 minutes there's not going to be, like, a new crow born that's not black, and then the whole entire thing will be proven wrong? So I really don't think that's relevant to anything. And I just think it doesn't make sense to say that if in theory we can test something that's true. Like, in theory we can test anything. Like, I can make a machine that talks to God then. Like,
what?
That's what I'm saying.